Good evening, viewers. Today we have a panel discussion on lessons from the Sohra Aberration. For almost 2 weeks now, we have all been on a roller coaster, especially those of us from the media and the tour operators have had to deal with so much. And there are, of course, a lot of lessons to be learned. And our intention for this discussion this evening is to see what is the way forward after this misadventure. To talk on all these issues, we have with us some of the most prominent tour operators. We have Alan West Kharkongor on my extreme left. He is President Meghalaya Rural Tourism Forum. Then we have Zaman Tongper, who is a faculty of the Tourism Management Department, Martin Luther Christian University. We have Cyril Dingdo, who is the Director, Tourism. And last but not least, we have Banlum Blah. For a long time, he's been in this sector. He is the President of the Tour Operatives Association of Meghalaya. Let me begin with Cyril. How is it that tourism has gone so wrong that it has turned into a murder mystery? Could this have been prevented? And I would want all of you also to come in on this.
Thank you, Kong, for that question. Thank you for this, inviting me for this program. I don't think it's a question of tourism going wrong. One aberration cannot define what is the tourism in Sohra. As we have all seen, people had a candlelight vigil yesterday in memory of late Mr. Raja, who passed away, who was murdered, in fact. And the police have done a very commendable job of being able to not only trace the body, but also get the clues together and being able to apprehend the accused who have been arrested and are now being interrogated, they're being investigated, and hopefully very soon the criminal justice system will be able to bring justice to the victim and the family. And indeed, because of this swift action by the Meghalaya police, as many of the media houses have also commented, the pride of Sohra, the pride of Meghalaya has been restored in a way, because a lot of defamation in a way was going along, a lot of loose talk, a lot of stereotyping of labeling the hills as crime prone, etc. And many of the national media also realized that this was a mistake. Because of one case, you can't, call everyone and taint the entire region, the entire people as criminals or as culprits, or as culpable anyway. Yeah. We are here as a state to welcome tourists. We strongly welcome tourists. And if there's a crime committed, we also have shown through the action of the police and all the stakeholders, in fact, we must commend the volunteers, the SDRF, the NDRF, the Tour Guide Association, the Taxi Association from Sohra, the volunteers from the West Giant Hills Adventure Association, each and every one, the Rangbashnongs, the police in particular, who have been able to crack this, murder mystery in a way, and really bring justice and bring to light that the fact that we cannot stereotype a state or a region, that we are here to promote tourism. And the state has been doing really well, in fact, in terms of promoting tourism. In fact, it's the endeavor of all the stakeholders, from the hoteliers to the homestay owners to the tour operators. So by tarnishing the image, I think all of us have united in one voice. We've seen how people have come united. Today, in fact, we had a felicitation for all the volunteers. We just came back from that program. The Honorable Tourism Minister felicitated the volunteers for their commendable work in locating the body in such difficult circumstances with the rain, with the terrain. So we must commend that. We must commend the resilience of the people. We must commend the Akor Sohra. That's, people are known for the Akor Sohra, the respect and the way of life and the culture, and that has been proven. And the fact that Meghalaya tourism is resilient is proven. Obviously, there are lessons to be learned, and I think that's why we are here to discuss. And it's good that we can use this moment to reflect on how we can further improve, because scope of improvement is always there. And in my opening remarks, I'll limit to this, but definitely when we go on to what are the measures that we could improve, I'd like to comment and come further. But I think it's not about tourism going wrong. It's about one incident, stray incident, that has caused a national, attention, uproar, and labeling. But now that the culprits have been apprehended, I think everyone realizes that the problem lay not in the tourism as such, But
the
in this
intentions of
incident,
people.
yes. So, we welcome tourists, but obviously, if there are people who want to come and commit crimes here, it's shown that the police are swift to take action, that people cooperate, all of us work together in unison when it's the state's image that is at stake, which has been the case in this case. And we have shown that in a matter of 7 days, the police have cracked this case, and all the culprits who are also in various parts of the country, in UP and MP, have been apprehended, and all of them are brought to the state and being produced before the magistrate, and the judicial process is going on. So I think, we should correct this, that tourism has been tarnished. It is this stray incident, which I'm sure we cannot tarnish. We should learn from it, but we can grow stronger from such incidents as a state, and we can learn on many things on how we can improve on many aspects.
Baalan, do you have any opening statements to make?
Yeah, to add to what Basil said just now, I think it's not the problem of tourism gone wrong. I think we have done well in the last 20 years, maybe. Yesterday I cited an example that we're so happy that I've been in this field for the last 15 years. I own 2 accommodation units in Sohra, and I've realized in the last 15 years we've got repeated guests, like a person who comes for 3 times in a year, because of 2 things. One is the good landscape that we have, and we should not forget that the other reason is the hospitality of the people hosting them. So we have done well. But I would also admit that with inflow of tourism, with this boom of tourism, there are also new challenges.
Yes.
What happens is that 20 years back, if you go to Sohra, if someone enter, he's a stranger. We can identify, Uriu Phala. Now with lakhs and lakhs of people entering Sohra, there's no stranger anymore. So I used to remember that if someone goes beyond my house, my mom will say, "Hey, but Uriu Phala, you already Uriu Snail." That is not happening now because of we have to accept that we have to accept thousands and thousands of people from outside in our area. So this is a new challenge. It is also a security challenge.
Yes.
And if we go,
it's a security challenge, and it also inadvertently creates maybe more jobs for tour guides, because we now, I think, will have to make it compulsory for people to take a guide. The other day, tourism minister was speaking to a news channel and saying, when people are on a honeymoon, they usually don't want a guide. But in this case, I think when you're out in the wilds, you need a guide. No? Okay, Zaman.
Yes, first of all, ma'am, thank you so much for inviting me to this studio, and greetings to the co-panelists, Cyril, Banlum Blah. At the very outset, I want to express my condolences to the mother and all the near and loved ones of late Mr. Raja Raghuvanshi. So I want to also join the thousands to thank and salute the Meghalaya police. They have done such a commendable job within 17 days. And yes, of course, we need to thank right from the first person who found who informed about the abandoned scooty.
Yes.
Which is one of the clues.
Those are those small players that we need to really acknowledge. That tour guide who said there were 3 other people, all these would have been missed.
So we also have like Sambor Suram, who led the adventure club.
Yes.
So there are many people to thank. Or for example, we shouldn't forget the FSL, which at times we tend to forget, the forensic lab officials, and the entire community of Sohra.
So actually, this is really a coming together of all the positive forces when you look at it. So one of the lessons learned is also that when we do things together, when we are working in convergence, it's easier to work.
Yeah, I do agree. I also would like to thank you for inviting us here, all of us here, and for me especially. It was something which, first of all, I would express that the murder taking place is a very sad thing. There's a big loss of life, so which is on one for any family or any being. So that is one thing. And then at the same time also, it is a big surprise to many people when we heard that somebody got lost in Cherrapunji, Sohra. Also, maybe due to trekking, sometimes people do.
They slip, they fall.
They go. But then this one, the outcome of this is from missing to something which we found that it is a real murder. So that was a big shock to each and every one of us. And in fact, this shock has really taken everybody by surprise. And it is because of this that you found today that so many things have come up, it has surfaced nowadays, that what we are lacking, what we need to do from here onwards. And it was that also has led to something which is that you are not finding. And just now you mentioned that is a good convergence that we have not seen in the past, but it's the first time that we see that all people from all walks of life, from all tourism stakeholders, whether they are tour guides, whether they are tour operators, whether they are accommodation providers, everyone came together and with one voice they condemned this the murderers and this incident, and at the same time also they all came to help and so on. But we really salute the police who have, and all those who have managed to find out in a short span that they have managed to come up with the conclusion about this, that it is a murder and it has taken place, and it is not the local people who are doing this thing, but it is somebody who has come and took advantage of the hospitality of the people of Sohra and people of the Meghalaya. And it was earlier we were very skeptical. We think that okay, maybe because of this incident our tourism image will go to hurt. And
but today when I went to Marriott, I found it completely full.
Yeah.
Occupied.
So then now what we have seen is that maybe because of this thing, the outcome of this, not only that we will see that the tourists will come to Meghalaya as usual, but also we'll have the increase in the flow of tourists, because I think they feel now, okay, this has really proved that this is a safe place to come.
So yes, see, now we might talk about increased footfalls, but I think we should learn from other countries, other regions, to limit the footfalls, because if you go to Lightroom today, it looks like a real mela gone wrong. Somebody rightly used that word. There are too many footfalls and the place has lost its beauty, its serenity. And I would like to address you, Alan, especially because you are the president of the Rural Tourism Society. I think these societies need to be strengthened. They need to be given a whole lot of awareness that too many footfalls may bring them instant gratification in terms of money and all, but for the long term it is not going to do good to tourism in this state.
Yeah, see, what happens is that right now we have to accept that there's an increase of this craze of people coming to this place. Just can't blame us. In the age of social media, I mean, if someone clicks a picture, it goes viral. So it tends to entice people to visit our hills. So in this process, money also comes in. So, and if we talk about rural, we have to think about those locals there. As we always used to say that.
See, when we talk about rural, I understand that the community has to earn something. Yeah. But if you look at the way things are managed in a place like Lom, for instance, the huge patch of land where the vehicles are stationed, the parking lot belongs to an individual. The place also belongs to certain individuals. So how much really are those poor vendors earning?
I'm supposed to come to that point. The thing is that right now, tourism operation in the rural areas, because of this sudden craze of things happening, I also wanted to open a store. It went wrong. But I think a lesson learned from here, our tourism activity has to be formalized.
Yes.
Tourism is a specialized sector. It's not like Lom. Whoever wants to enter and be a stakeholder of tourism has to be trained or has to have some kind of intensive training. I've learned lesson from Sohra. I've just said today in one panel discussion also, the problem is that Shillong opens up a tourist spot. He will engage Badu Barit. One day Badu is not free, he'll engage Barit. That continuation of running professionally managing a sport is lacking. So what happens is that it comes to again, compromising on security of people coming in. So I think I'm so glad that the state government, especially the tourism department now, is coming up with a lot of training program. People should take advantage of this.
Yes.
And approach the tourism department and ask for certain help that I'm very sure tourism department is always willing to do that.
But Cyril, see, you have Nehu has a tourism department, MLCO has tourism department. How well is the department working with these universities? Because they are the ones who can provide training on a large scale. Because without training, without even the homestay owners, if they don't know to have conversations with their guests, in this case, suppose the homestay owner was a bit intrusive, let it be, but the person would have detected something, amiss. So what do you have to say about collaborating with these universities?
So we are already doing that. A lot of collaborations already happening.
Okay.
Like Alan said, we are welcoming all the communities to come forward and nominate youth, especially from the region, from the village, to get training. And this is all, training at the cost of the state. At the state level, we have the Meghalaya State Skill Development Society, which has a lot of tourism provider training, right from your cooking to housekeeping to tour guide. And, certification is becoming very important. In fact, we had advertised just recently to send our, youth who are running adventure tourism to the National Adventure Tourism Institute in Arunachal, because we understand that capacity for adventure tourism might not be in our state. So we are sponsoring that. In fact, a lot of people have applied and we're doing that. If you see our prime tourism vehicle scheme, one of the conditions of the scheme is before you get the vehicle, you have to be trained.
Yes.
And you have to be certified. And you have to know how to use the app. You have to know how to, do other things.
I met one of those drivers driving that one with a group of tourists from Madurai, from Tamil Nadu. And they were so happy with him because he was able to also explain,
Exactly.
So if you have a driver like that, you don't really need another
True.
guide.
So the driver becomes the first point of contact, as you understand. The driver picks up someone from the airport or from the railway station. So they really become the first ambassador
Yes.
of what tourism is in the state.
Yes.
How they speak, how they welcome, how they even open the door, how they treat you, if the car is clean, if there's water, if they stop at the right place, or toilets. If they tell you on the way, they speak to you. We completely agree. Therefore, we said that what is the government's role? Whatever policy we come out with or whatever incentives, how do we incentivize people to be trained?
Yes.
So like I gave you the example of the prime vehicle scheme. We are saying very simple. We'll give you the scheme because it's a loan base. We're giving you a 50% grant and there's a huge demand for that, as you know, because everyone wants to have a good vehicle. And we are saying take your training seriously. We'll not give you your vehicle until you are trained. And in fact, for 2 or 3 beneficiaries, trust me when I say this, it took more than a year because they missed their training and we didn't release the vehicle until they were trained, because we said on training there's no negotiation, because you have to understand the importance of training. First, like Alan said, the need and the felt need for training has to come from the provider itself, from the communities.
Yes.
Today, of course, many of them are understanding the value of training. If you see our other schemes, we are coming up with various resorts, in various locations, which will be, again, some of them will be run by the private sector, some of them will be run by the community through a cooperative society. We are already telling them, identify the youth today, so that in 2 years' time, when the resort is up and ready, maximum local employment is from that village. Of course, it's important that you are trained in that skill set.
Yes.
So a cook has to be trained as a cook who can cook various cuisine.
Yeah.
You can't
So
just
he can't
substitute
be everything.
everything. A housekeeper has to be a housekeeper, all of that, including tour guide. So coming back to your first question that you talked to Alan about, also I want to use this opportunity to tell the audience and tell the service providers about this beautiful app called the Meghalaya Tourism Service Provider app, which is an app that any service provider can download. Initially, we have started with check-in and check-out. Now, many people ask, how do you know that who's coming to your place, right? If you don't maintain a proper record, if an incident like this happens, how do the police get to know who came and stayed there?
Yeah.
So we are saying in today's digital world, where instead of doing a manual system, because the earlier system was what? You make a register,
Yes.
you take a photocopy, you know best. We all travel. When you go to a hotel, they scan your ID or they
ID.
take a photocopy, they keep a copy,
Yeah.
and then you check in, of course, with some details, your phone number, etc. We have made an app, maybe the first in the country, where we are saying, as a state government, that you just have to onboard on our app. You do all your check-in through our app. On the back end, all the police can get that information.
Okay.
You don't have to manually
Uh-huh.
take a photocopy
Yes.
as per, you're supposed to do that anyway, but now you can do it through your smartphone.
So we're
Take a
hearing
photo.
about this for the first time.
So a lot of capacity building has happened. I'm glad that, I'm able to speak about it today, and through this medium, many people will get to know. And I think this is the right time that all are onboarded.
Yes.
Because so far about 50% are using it. Most of the hotels are registered, but 50% are using it. The other complaint we got was that, how do we use it in a very remote place? There's no internet. So we have made the app very user-friendly. You do it offline. When you get network, whenever you get once in 2 days, once in 3 days, it will just sync to the server. It will work offline also. So in one app, you're able to solve a lot of the issues. That will also give us a realistic figure of, the tourist arrivals and plan in future. And then coming back to your question, you started with the issue of carrying capacity, right? How do we ensure that, our tourist spots don't become overcrowded with tourists and, they lose their beauty and charm, the very reason why people are coming.
Yeah.
The app also is introducing a feature, and we're going to start with Wards Lake, because that has now been taken over by the tourism department, where through the app, you can do ticket sales.
Okay.
So in the app, you will know how many tickets to sell, including, the issue of carrying capacity. So if you go back to our tourism policy of 2023, one of the principles we have is ensuring that every location tries and defines a carrying capacity, especially those which are vulnerable to over-tourism and where over-tourism might lead to destruction of that fragile ecosystem, say a living root bridge. So we are telling the communities, we have to obviously engage much more, and, we have other stakeholders here, and I'll request them to also engage. We have the academia here, we have tour operators. We are telling them, you define your carrying capacity. In fact, we've come up with a scheme called Community-Led Tourism Infrastructure Scheme, where if you want to create certain infrastructure in your community, we are happy to give that amount up to 25 lakhs as a grant to you, provided you also take some steps. Because we have to obviously, as a government, create policies that incentivize certain behavior or disincentivize certain behavior, right? That's how economics works. That's how, nudge theory works. And that's how we're trying to nudge communities. Because as you know, in Meghalaya, communities own the tourist spots. It's not the government, So we have to facilitate. We can't dictate and, and enforce sometimes. That becomes a challenge. So we are telling them, please define a carrying capacity. And once you define the carrying capacity, if you have a problem where, because you're going to reduce the numbers, you're going to lose some revenue, we are ready to fill in that gap if required for the time being. Right?
So what is the
long
timeline?
term,
What is the timeline you've given for that?
So various timelines. So we're starting with those which are very vulnerable.
Okay.
It will require some benchmarking. They all maintain some data in some format. And we had also come up with a principle called right pricing. As you know, some of our tourist spots are heavily underpriced. We are underselling our beautiful product. People are traveling from so
Especially
far.
the living root bridges.
Exactly. So why should we undersell? So if you price it, even maybe 3x or 4x, whatever the current price, because the current price is very low.
Very low.
People are happy to pay. We have to understand that. They've come all the way.
Yes.
So you will not have a drop in earnings actually. And in fact, you will have a much more pleasant, experience. And the other aspect, obviously, if you then make it some locations, guided only. Of course, you have to have enough guides and train guides. Then you can even charge another premium, because many of the tourists who come in groups would love a guide, because the guide will tell them about the history of the place. They'll feel secure, etc. Therefore, the government thought that while we do the training of the guides, which will come from the community, we have introduced a tourism buddy scheme. We launched the other day when we took over Wards Lake. And I'm happy to, share with all of you that very soon we'll be appointing for Sohra also. The idea of the scheme is very simple. From that community, from that village, we will select volunteers who will be paid by the government. They'll be given a certain uniform so that tourists can identify them. They'll be trained, obviously. They'll be the first point of contact. So at prominent locations, they'll be there around to guide tourists, to inform tourists. If there's an incident, to inform the headman or the police station or the health, PHC facility, etc., to do first aid. So they'll be like ambassadors of Meghalaya tourism in the field, paid by the government.
Okay.
And hopefully this will then spur further, reform in terms of getting better guides, getting uniforms, all of that aspect.
I'm sorry about the other panelists who are listening, but I think even for us, it is very important information. Banlum, because you have been running a homestay for the longest time, if I remember, and those people who stay with you have always said that you're more like a friend, and you tell them everything, and you tell them what to do, what not to do. So, what is your experience of the other homestays in the state?
See, we have got so many homestays now, but sadly, that most of the homestays are not functioning as they're supposed to function. They are not hosting.
A homestay is supposed to be much more intimate,
Yeah.
because this is what you see in Arunachal.
Yes.
They run it very well. Those people who run homestays, they talk to their guests, they take them here, they give them the local food to taste and all.
So what happens is that now I'll just give you an example. We as store operators, we sell packages, and in the package we mentioned that homestays, and then most of the people, they said, some of them they said, okay, we saw in the maybe from the internet that these are the properties that are selling themselves as homestays. We would like to stay in these places. But then surprisingly, once we tell them that okay, they are not functioning as homestays, then they say, how come? But then they have mentioned homestays. So these are the things. They are guest houses. So definitely, I think when we have to do a proper
Maybe the
registration,
government has to come in here also, with certain regulations. And what is a homestay? What is a guest house? What is a hotel?
and proper classification also, because now we have so many hotels, but we don't have the proper classifications. I mentioned that we have now people are asking us as store operators, we want to stay in such property, a 3-star property, but what we found that is that these properties are not classified as yet. They have not obtained the certificates from the Ministry of Tourism to get themselves classified as 3-star. So what we do is that we as store operators, we cannot simply let go and say choose other properties, because we don't have that much choice. So what we say, take this property, according to us it is equivalent to 3-star. We use the word equivalent to, so that is as per our judgment. But maybe those properties are not really fully 3-star, or they may be just 2-star. So, and again, the pricing also, now we do find that sometimes, a 3-star property price, the room rate is much higher than even a 4-star or 5-star. So these kind of things are done there. So I think now we have to regulate everything, and we would like to see that. And now another very important thing is that this dynamic pricing, some of them, the dynamic pricing has gone too high. And then when it is too high...
Can you explain to our viewers what dynamic pricing is?
The dynamic pricing means like, suppose now they know that, this week there are going to be a big rush. Suppose. So what they do is that a room, suppose maybe it's just 3,000. Immediately that room price goes up to even 5,000, 6,000, 8,000. So when it goes up like that, so people then, those people who have come, maybe they have no choice, they've already planned their holidays to come to Meghalaya, and they found out this rate, but then they'll take. But then tomorrow they'll go and say everywhere, don't go there, it is a costly destination. Because why? It is easier for them, it is more better if you can go to other destinations where it's much cheaper and get the same facilities.
Many people will say, you better go to Vietnam.
Yeah, go to Vietnam. So tomorrow we'll have a big problem in destination marketing. This is what we are facing as store operators, because they compare the packages, and if a room rent is quite high, even though your transportation cost may be low, or maybe other services lower, but just because of the room rent dynamic pricing, then everything will go higher. And not only that, the dynamic pricing also, they say now people plan their holidays 5-6 months in advance, but when they come and then suddenly the hotel says saw that there's going to be a huge footfall and a lot of rush, so they'll increase the rate. So then what happened? That goes beyond the package cost. So they again lots of confusion to the tour operators.
Okay.
These are the things.
So what is your solution to this? What do you think should be done?
I feel that, okay, we will make them aware, create some awareness. We cannot force people to lower the prices, but we can make an awareness that, okay, for these properties, we feel that these are the price range that you should keep for your properties. And along with that, also the facilities that you are giving. Not only that, the facilities and even the type of room you are giving. Because if we are doing that for classification, if we make it compulsory that everybody should go for classification, definitely there are norms for classifications where even if we are to go for 3-star or 4-star, these are the sizes of the rooms, these are the bathrooms, these are the facilities you should have in the rooms. You have to go as per the Ministry of Tourism 2018 norms, criteria for that. So then that way, I think everybody will start improving.
So does everyone see eye to eye with you as an association? Because you also have Meghalaya Tourism Development Forum, you have other associations. So have you come together on this issue?
We see what happened as tour operators, very important, because we are doing the packages. We are dealing with accommodation providers, we're dealing with transporters, we're dealing with tour guides, we're dealing with nearly everyone. Because we have a tour package, so we have to deal right from the time the tourist arrivals from the airport or the railway station or any entry until they exit. So that means the whole package we have to deal with all down the supply chain. So what we have to do is that we used to tell these people that, okay, these are the things, we feel that your rates are too high, but actually now, because they have seen that, okay, people will come, they will take the room, so they are not that bothered. So that's why they are doing whatever. See, I'll tell you an example. As tour operators, as per the estimates, statistics we have calculated, out of all the 100%, 75% of people coming to Meghalaya are coming on their own. They book their own and they do everything on their own. Now 25% goes through tour operators, and out of the 25% going to the tour operators, only 17%. That is, as per our calculation, only 17 comes through the local tour operators. That is why you're finding a situation where you don't, people coming here, you will go only to certain places. That means they have an itinerary which is a very common itinerary like Shillong, Sohra, maybe Dauki, and you're not finding them spending to other parts of Meghalaya. Because what? They are not taking the service of tour operators. And tour operators, we would like to sell the whole state, not only to sell only some destination.
No,
but
that is because people don't know about your existence. Maybe you haven't advertised yourself enough, or you. Zaman, please come in here. As an academic, what do you see are the problems and prospects of tourism in Meghalaya?
Ma'am, before answering your question, I would just like to have a quick recap on this case, which is happening at the moment. So again, like I've said before, we are very grateful to the police department because, see, when this culprit was snapped in Ghazipur, now Ghazipur is just about 6 hours from Nepal. Now, had the culprit slipped into Nepal, it would have been a daunting task to catch them.
Yes.
So although yes, it has not really affected tourism, but then just imagine the consequences had these culprit not been
Crossed
captured.
over.
Yes. So yeah, it is, which is why what I am trying to say is that what we have to do now is think about the way forward. Now, we really have to understand exactly what you were asking, ma'am, about the problems and challenges. See, in 2022, Dr. Benjamin Lindo, he wrote a paper, An Exploration on Tourism Development in Meghalaya, which was published in the Atna Journal of Tourism Studies. So he mentioned about the different stages of Sohra. So if we look at Sohra, I think even Baalan was also part of that study. So Sohra now is in the stage 3, as per this Butler TALC model, which is Butler's tourism area life cycle. So as it is, every tourist destinations, they've got a life cycle. So there is the exploration stage, involvement stage, and then the development stage. So Sohra, as of 2022, as per the paper of Dr. Benjamin, it is in stage 3. Now, what happens after stage 3 is that it will either decline or rejuvenate. So this is where we really have to tap the problems. Now, there are many problems and challenges, but then thanks to the state government, they have really listened to the stakeholders when we have had these tourism stakeholders meeting. But then some of the suggestions I would like to give is that Sir was mentioning about the tourist buddies, which is a very good initiative. I feel we can also develop an app for the tourist buddies. Yes, I understand that M-Time is there. We can have an app only for the tourist buddies in the sense that it can be like, I'll use an example of Rapido. If I want to go anywhere right now, I can easily open my Rapido app and click on the destination that I like to visit. The Rapido itself will come to us. So similarly, we can have the same kind of system, for tour guides. So once a tourist reach a particular destination, they can open the app. We can call it Tourist Buddies only, or Meghalaya Tourist Buddies for that. Then from there, the tourists can easily pick a guide. That is one. And also another issue that I would like to mention is that in the Meghalaya Tourism Policy 2023, thrust area number 8B, it talks about, thrust area number 8, it talks about tourist safety. So if we look at point B, it talks if there's any issue related to safety, maybe tourist police can be dedicated. A dedicated tourist police force can be set up. So now our tourism minister has rightly mentioned that if we have tourist police, then they might create some sort of discomfort to the tourists, because the tourists will keep seeing khakis everywhere. Now my suggestion is, how about we have an unobtrusive policing kind of a system where the police personnel can be in civis or civilian clothes, and their role there is just to be there and be observant of that particular place.
Yes.
So that way the tourists will not know that the police are there, but in fact the police will be there. So yeah, I was having this discussion about the tourist buddies app. Again, coming to that. Now there was students as well as some of my colleagues. They were saying that, but then we have problems, network problems. Colleagues from other departments, not from tourism, we have network problem. How will these apps work? Well, at the end of the day, this is the reason why we need tourism to improve, to develop certain places. Because at the end of the day, network, all these self-service network, these are all part of tourism amenities. So
maybe when we have Skywalk, what was that? Elon Musk's
Starlink.
Starlink.
Yes,
Maybe.
Ma'am, and I would like to add one more point. No doubt the government has really promoted tourism. It is visible also, we can see it. But I would like to suggest that how about we promote tourism specifically when it comes to tour guiding. That how about if you really want to experience Meghalaya, take a guide.
Yes.
Because we've seen when...
Sell it in a very friendly way.
Yes, because...
Not in a policing kind of way.
Yes, because we've seen most tourists... One thing I like about the Indian tourists is that they enjoy to the fullest. They really experience tourism, they really enjoy to the fullest. But then if there's no guide, there's nobody to control them. And what happens is that to the particular place, it'll become so loud that there are many other people, from taxing profession who wants to go to these sites to relax.
Yes.
So,
absolutely.
But then if there's a guide, then, he will be there to help control them.
So if I can just come in.
Yes.
So thank you for those suggestions. This app is to be one app for everything, so that there's no confusion. If you have multiple apps, also it creates confusion.
Yes.
So in this app also we have the feature already. We have to just get a lot of enrollments done of tourist guides.
Okay.
Once they are trained and registered with us, then they become a tourist guide who's on our app, and we are now going to encourage more people to undergo that training and then to be listed on our app. Once we have a sufficient number, because now for the tourists also we have one app, and in that app both these apps are integrated. They can see what services they can provide. In fact, why we came up with this app also, let me tell you, one of the genesis is because a lot of homestays and even good hotels were coming to us saying that we are a lot of cyber fraud is happening.
Yes, yes.
There's a
Scams.
lot of
Yes.
on
Scams.
Google when people type a certain
Yeah.
hotel, the fake website goes up,
And they pay there.
and because these scamsters pay a certain algorithm, and it goes up, and people trust that. No one looks into it, and a lot of people have lost money. So once you have one app, and everyone knows that that is the app, it's a government app. On that app, you
Yes.
have hotels, you have tour guides, you have tour operators. All of them are on that app. That's why we've been encouraging that app. In fact, we also gave a service to our homestays because a lot of them were listed on Airbnb, on Booking.com, on what's the other one for hotels?
Airbnb.
Yeah, there's one more app, I forgot the name. Yeah,
Booking.com.
on Booking.com, etc. Now they were charged a commission. So we said, look, we are government, we are here to help facilitate. You log into our app. We will facilitate the booking. So booking can be done through this app without any commission.
Okay.
The money comes
And
to an
without,
account,
without the fear of being scammed.
and without for the consumer, for the tourist, without the fear of being scammed. For the service provider, that you don't have to pay a commission to any third party because it's a government app. So my request is, if we have to go into a transformative space where Meghalaya tourism will be able to meet the challenges of the digital age, let's put it, right? And where we are able to understand data as we get one truth version, right? Otherwise, there'll be too many versions floating around. And all the important stakeholders are on one platform.
Yes.
Because if you see the age of internet or anything, everyone is on the same platform. That's why collaborations can happen.
Yes.
And today, that platform has to be an app or the internet.
Yeah.
Because everyone virtually has a smartphone.
Yes.
And as and when the demand for data and bandwidth goes up, even in remote places, the cell phone companies will be forced to set up towers.
Yes.
In fact, I would request the villages especially, because many of them look for common land. This challenge also has been there.
Yes.
I've been telling, the SDO Sohra, for example, a lot of places we need to engage with the villages to give a small parcel of land for that tower. So even that challenge remains. So I request, especially these heavy tourist spots, because when you have these cell phone signals, it also helps the police to track people's movement. Once a crime has been committed, you can't escape because your cell phone is giving your location away.
Yes.
And that's what was also used in a way, right?
Yes.
So even from that perspective, we need to think of the cell phone tower as something very important from the safety perspective also. So I would request through this program that everyone use this app. Obviously, there's scope for improvement. There'll always be scope for improvement in anything that we do.
Yes.
But once people start using it, then the feedback will happen.
Yes.
Then there'll be an interaction. There'll be a stakeholder consultation, and we can further improve. And then we may be the first state where everything is on one app, which I think will be commendable, because we are a small state. There's no reason why we can't achieve it. But we need to spread the message. It cannot be only government speaking, because people have to be convinced of the benefit of the app. And I think this is a great opportunity because of this incident, that all homestay owners, especially all hotels, use this one app so that in case any criminal enters a hotel, immediately the police will know their name, their ID, and be able to track them without having to, go and interrogate even the homestay owner, because that data is already on the back end with the police. The police don't even have to go to a remote homestay and say, please give me that data.
Yes.
They don't have to go and manually check a register. That saves time. I mean, think of the technology which has evolved so much with tech and with proper integration of technology. So much can be achieved. And this is not some rocket science. There are apps all over the world. People are using all sorts of apps. So I would request people to use this app.
Main stakeholders. So they should be spreading this.
No,
this
yes, let me
message.
come in.
So what can I add?
Banlum, it's a continuation to what Basil is trying to explain. So it'll be a great help for your department also. Learning from what happened in Sohra, I think I also attended a meeting convened by the SDO. So I'm also now advisor of Sohra. So what we intend to do to help them is, what happens that any service provider, be it a homestay, a guest house, or a hotel, before opening, he has to approach the CM of Sohra for an NOC. So we have decided that now before giving an NOC, we will ensure that be it a guide, be it a homestay, or be it a restaurant, has to register with the government app. So that's why I'm talking about this nice collaboration between, a tourism officer, he has a huge area to cover.
Yes.
I always talk about this collaboration. It happens during COVID time.
So let me come to a very important point, which is this conflict of interest between the Shillongs.
Okay.
Suppose where Saudong was populated, there were tourists, I don't think this crime could have been committed so easily. There would have been people there.
Yes.
There would have been guides there. There would have
Yeah.
been those people taking money, for those going down way Saudong. The same is with Danklen.
Yeah.
Why is it not possible to resolve these conflicts? Why can't there be a shared revenue model? Why should only one Shillong want everything? Since you are, in close collaboration with the aim of Hima Sohra, why can't these things be resolved? And isn't this a good time now?
Okay, Kong, let me answer, but I'll just add regarding that, what I suggest to Pak Cyril. We have taken our own responsibility in Hima Sohra, but this kind of model should also be replicated in other Hima or other Shillong. Basically, government to achieve something also needs the support of
The Shillong, of course.
this layer of
course,
authority that
Yes.
they have so much of authority that if you open a restaurant, you need NOC. That authority that they have. So I strongly suggest that
They have authority and also they should have responsibility,
exactly.
Power with responsibility.
Exactly. So what we did in Hima Sohra, now before SEM gets an NOC, I also have helped them with SOPs.
Okay, yes.
There is a list of SOPs that I have submitted to the Hima Sohra that if we ask for our homestay, these are the things. Number one, they should comply with any rules given by the government. But we also have other local rules that will be added up to just to ensure that everything goes right.
Correct.
So I strongly suggest that the tourism department also approach the other local authority, be it in Nongkrem or in Riboy. This will go to a great extent to help achieve whatever you mentioned just now, that we want to see that everyone is
On one platform.
on one platform.
And we speak
Yeah.
then we're able to discuss and
You speak with one
voice.
One voice,
And
yes.
we're able to solve common problems.
Yeah.
So
Then
that's a great suggestion.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Then coming back to the dispute, it happens everywhere. The only thing now, we know about Wisodong because it's a
No, it happened
a
in
center.
Nongkrem also.
Nongkrem also.
also, yes.
So what happened, Kong, is that one
Bull
village,
strike, yeah, bull
one
strike.
village will claim Wisodong is mine. One will counter claim that is mine. Then it goes to Hima. Then the other party will approach the court. Then the court will send back to district council. So it's like a very kind of a complicated way of solving.
It's an obstruction to tourism. No?
Exactly. See what happened, Kong.
You're losing revenue, yeah.
Losing revenue, and coming back to this case, this murder case could have happened in UP or MP.
Yeah.
But they have identified that place
That place.
because
It's isolated.
isolated
Yes.
place. And mind you, 2003, there was an unreported case that they found a bag in Wisodong Fall which contains human parts. This person was murdered in Assam and the dead body was dumped in Wisodong. So right from 2023, because of this situation,
2003 or 2023? 23.
yeah. So they have identified an isolated location to commit a crime. I think now it is the responsibility of not only of the tourism department, but also the traditional institution and the district council to ensure that dispute should end up
Resolved.
resolved. I mean, there's no way that you
Yeah.
prolong
Right,
the
Yes.
Otherwise, we'll end up in another
Another murder
case and again bad scene for.
I'll give you the example of
Yeah.
Kramsuri. Kramsuri,
Yeah.
there's a dispute, went to the court, and then court said that the Department of Tourism run it for the time being in the interest of tourism.
Yes.
So we are running it. The revenue has been collected, kept in a separate account. Once a dispute is resolved, that proceeds of that revenue will be given. It's not our intention to use it. We will just collect it because we are interested in tourism. So if that model also works, we are happy to explore that. I'm giving some solution, some way ahead if it's required.
And I request, I think because of this incident, I think Wisodong should be done in such a way that it opens up in the next maybe 2-3
The
weeks
case
or
is
1
in the
month.
court right now.
It has gone back to Hima Sohra.
Oh, okay.
So
No, I think it would be good for Department of Tourism, for all the stakeholders to bring rapprochement because it is the need of the hour. Yeah.
Ma'am, just to add to what Sir was mentioning about I would also like to join hands with Sir in requesting the viewers, especially tourists who are not, who are not from Meghalaya, to please download the app if you want to visit Shillong. Because as it is, during my research, when I was doing my PhD, this is the data that I have. When it comes to awareness of the app, only 32.2% are aware about the app. And then similarly, I asked the same questions to the tourist taxi drivers. Are you aware about the app? They said, yes, we are aware about the app. So more than 90% of them, they are aware about the app. But then I asked another question. Have you ever made use of the app? Almost just 1% of them are saying yes. Now, I'm not sure why they said yes, because perhaps maybe, maybe they've used it. But then looking at the data from the tourists, then it looks like very few tourists have been, are aware about the app. So coming to the clash of communities and all that, I think what we really need to develop is, a very good tourism ecosystem here. Because as it is right now, we really need this ecosystem. And yes, I see that it is happening. And I would request also the state government that whenever, sir, we have these tourism stakeholders meet and all that, if it would be very helpful if we can get a proceeding of the meeting so that we know the status of all the discussion that has happened. So that way we can keep track.
Yeah. Okay. Before we end now, because we don't have much time, I would want a very quick response on the way forward. Just one sentence from each one of you.
For me, okay. For me, tourism has to sustain in Meghalaya, and to sustain that, we should have a safe and honorable tourism. And for safe and honorable tourism, we should also be responsible. So we should have a responsible tourism in Meghalaya. So that we have to take care of all the other aspects also, not only of our services that we are providing. We have to give the best services, but we also would like to take care of all our environment, especially the ways and
Yes.
To me, for a beautiful state like ours, which is blessed with nature's bounty, tourism is the economic growth engine for sustainable growth and development and providing the maximum employment opportunities for our youth, for our people. It is the future. Obviously, there are challenges. We have to look at sustainable tourism. We have to look at community participation. We have to look at technology, tourist safety, all of that. But if all of us come together, work in collaboration with the government, and work together and see that ultimately the goal of tourism is to bring development to our people, to ensure that the youth in that village are empowered and get a gainful employment, to ensure economic growth of that village, that region, that locality, that district, and eventually our state. If we all work together, I'm sure we can take tourism in a right way forward. And there's no reason why Meghalaya cannot be the model state for tourism, not only in the Northeast, but in the country as a whole, because of the beauty that we have and the culture and the hospitality of our people of the state.
I would like to conclude by sharing with you here that I have students, 5 of them. They are currently doing a dissertation on tourist safety. So it so happened that they began with this research since the month of Feb, and during the month of March, April, they have done the data collection, and coincidentally, this case also happened. So just yesterday, they were, they've completed the conclusion chapter. I would just like to share just a part of the summary about, answering, is Meghalaya safe? So as per the study, it says the study finds a majority of tourists perceive Meghalaya as a safe destination, with 75% reporting feeling safe and 86% having faced no safety problem issues. So yes, Meghalaya is indeed very safe. But just one thing I would like to request our viewers to please, don't be too quick to judge and come to conclusion based on your assumptions, because all this news has spread like wildfire because of the comments and all that of the people without having,
seen, understood,
verified news. So yes, that is my conclusion.
For me, I think we should consider now that tourism is also Pelengja, the rice bowl. So respect our rice bowl, and we should also ensure that it carries on to the next generation, not only us. So do in such a way that it is sustainable and it our grandkids also will reap the
Yes.
benefit.
Thank you. Thank you very much, all the panelists, for your time and for your very, very constructive views that has gone out and should go out to all the stakeholders of tourism and all who are on social media, especially the influencers. They should send out these messages from this discussion. We thank you once again, and we hope that we have a safe, secure, and a prosperous tourism henceforth. Thank you very much.